Well, it's a nice rainy day today. They're calling for rain all day. So I thought I'd come up here for a couple hours and continue working on my C-cab project. The previous video, you seen where I cut the rotors. I got the calipers to fit the rotors. Everything was looking good. Now I got to make mounting brackets to mount the calipers to those spindles. Well, you can see here, I made these two plates, 3-inch center on a bolt pattern for the spindle, so it's 3 by 3, and it needs a 2 5/8 or 3 5/8 inch hole to get on the hub. So next thing I'm gonna do is drill that. We'll set it up. I don't know if my little drill press is gonna be able to drill through that, but we're gonna give it a try. Well, it took a little while, but I thought I was gonna try to do it in my little drill press right here, but it wouldn't do it. It was just too much, so I ended up using a hand drill. It took our time. It took me about 30 minutes, but anyway, we got through it. Let me get it unbolted, and we'll clean it up and take it over there and try it on the spindle. So what I'm doing now is trimming to fit the inside. The backing plate on the spindle wouldn't fit in the rotor. I'll show you here in a minute. I'm going to take it over to the grinder and just, you see my line here, clean it up, make it a little smooth, and then I'll try it back. We'll try it on. I'll show you what it looks like. Here's what it looks like on the axle. I got it bolted here. You can see here I trimmed the corners. I got plenty of clearance here, and the bottom. And now what I'm working on, you saw me cutting. I got to trim a little bit more here. It's too close. I want to get at least 1/4 of an inch away all the way around. So I got to trim some more down here. And then this piece, this half round piece that sticks out past the flange here, is where the, let me show you here. This caliper, I got to cut these brackets down. And then I'm going to put a spacer in between there to space this and cut it down far enough where it's all the way on. It's kind of hard to explain, but let me get this piece trimmed, and then we get this bolted on, then I can start trimming that piece down. Well, as you can see here, I finished the making the backing plates to go on the spindles. Got both sides done. This side actually I've been working on. I got it all mocked up right now. You can see the backing plate in here. And this piece here I had bought. It's for welding onto a rear end axle tube to convert it to disc brakes. So that way it already had the threads, the right 5.5 inch spacing. I just cut the back down to fit here. And also, it's a little difficult by myself trying to hold everything and get everything lined up. So you can see here, I went and zip tied a piece of 1/8 inch thick aluminum that I had laying around to give me clearance here between the rotor and the pins and between the caliper here. So I got 1/8 of an inch clearance on the caliper that way. I'm using the clamp to clamp the piston tight against the rotor, so the bracket is square, and it worked out that this space here between the back was 1 inch. So I had a piece of 1 inch by 1/2 inch flat bar, and you can see here I tacked it in. I'm getting ready to take the clamps off, and I also had to use a stick here to get the caliper the right height and have the bleeder facing up. So let me take it all apart, and if it looks good, I'll go ahead and fully weld the bracket. I just tried the caliper on with both shoes in the caliper, and we got plenty of clearance. So I wanted to show you real quick what the bracket's going to look like. From here, I got to weld this to the backing plate. I got about 4 inches of weld on this side, and then the back side there's about 5 inches of weld. And then I got to weld these tabs here, back side to front side, on both of them in the ends. And hopefully it won't bend or warp too much. And I want to cut a little bit off the corner right here, where it's close to the rotor. It's not hitting, but it's close. I was just going to cut it and give it a little bit more clearance there. Well, as you can see here, I finished welding my caliper mounting bracket. But before I go ahead and put it all back together, I'm going to go ahead and try to put this on the other side. It should be symmetrical, I'm hoping. And if it is, then I can just copy this piece here and make another one real quick for the other side. I won't have to go through all that setup like I did on this one. Let me stick it over here on the other side and we'll see if it's going to work. Well, I don't know if I'm that good or I just got that lucky, but the one I made to fit on this side over here, I bolted it on this side over here. As you can see right here, fit perfect. Looks straight. If you look at it this way, it looks like it's lined up. The shoe's got a little bit of play in it. I got a lot of travel for the caliper to come back on the pin. It's not hitting anywhere. Got good clearance all the way around. So all I got to do now is cut the other one to match this one. Let me get this back off, and then I'll bring it over there and we'll trace the weld-on piece that I had cut here. We'll trace it and try to match this one. Well, after thinking about this, I don't have a lot of clearances between the caliper and the rotor. So I decided to go ahead and set it up just like I did the other side. You can see right here, I went and zip tied a piece of 1/8 inch aluminum onto here, which will give me clearance here, 1/8 of an inch between the pins and the OD of the rotor and between the caliper and the rotor. And then I went ahead and clamped the piston with the brake pad flush up against the rotor right here to get it squared and flushed. And then you can see I already knew the spacer was 1 inch from when I did the other side. So I went ahead and tacked it here and tacked it down there. Now I'm going to get ready, take it apart. We'll take it over to the table. I'll get it all welded. And then we'll come back over here and test fit it one more time. Well, as you can see here, I got finished welding the bracket. Everything came out perfect. This one and then the other one's working fine. So next thing we know, we got to get a leaf spring for it. Once I get the leaf spring, I could start ordering this or order some steel to make the frame. And I got some ideas I want to do with the frame, and I needed to make sure I could use this axle. And now that I know everything's okay and I can use the axle, I'll like I said, I'll go ahead and get the spring, take some measurements, and then we'll order the steel for the frame, and we'll go from there. Well, thanks again for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, helps the channel out a real lot. And stay tuned, we got a lot more build coming up.